Hello, folks, and welcome to our latest Let's Talk Sport live reaction to, of course, the second semi-final of tonight's World Cup semi-final between France and Morocco. And if you haven't seen the match yet or not heard about it, the scoreline is below: France 2, Morocco 0. So that means France's quest to have a successful sequel of winning back-to-back World Cups is still on after beating the first ever African team to reach the last four of a FIFA World Cup. Well, I'll say this now. I've just come back from the game. It was at Al Bayt Stadium, so up north of Doha, furthest one out of all the stadiums in the city, in the capital of Qatar. So if you're not sure which stadium that is, that's the one that's known as the Big Tent. And that'll be its final World Cup game for Al Bayt Stadium, as of course it hosted the opening game. And of course, it's wrapped up with its semi-final tonight between France and Morocco. So, I guess, was there any surprises? France won this game? Probably not. I must admit, I was really rooting for Morocco to get to the final. If they had done it, that would have been... I mean, what they've done has been tremendous. For them to reach the semi-finals and become the first African nation to do it, after we've had so many countries come so close in the past from that continent. Senegal in 2002, Ghana in 2010, especially Ghana, and I think it was Cameroon in 1990, which featured Roger Miller, as I'm sure any of you that was around when Italia 90 was on, I'm sure you remember him, especially dancing on that near that corner flag, that famous dance celebration when he scored a goal. But yeah, Morocco just not good enough at the end, but not in a bad way. I think really what happened was you had Theo Hernandez, who scored within the opening 5 minutes, really, and Morocco were just a bit they were a bit scrambled at the back when that goal went in. You know, there was a shot block, took a deflection, ended up going onto the left-hand side of the penalty area, and Theo Hernandez, it was some goal still. He still had to hit the ball home, and he did so. He absolutely nailed it. And I was up in the stands on the opposite side of the stadium when Hernandez made it 1-0. So I couldn't see it that clearly, really, the goal. But I watched the replay again when I got back a few minutes ago, and what a finish that was. So tremendous finish that was, and really you just felt like really that could have been the winning moment, and it proved to be. France getting a goal later on in the second half, Mbappe making it happen and making it such a simple tapping at the end for Morani, scoring about 11 minutes just before the full-time whistle on the 79th minute. But Mbappe, if you haven't seen the goal yet, go check it out, because he makes it happen. He's the one that runs into the box, gets past his opponents, and just sets up a simple tap-in. And that is why, I mean, Mbappe, everyone's talking about Messi, Mbappe deserves a bit of mention as well. But also Antoine Griezmann, again, creating some of the goals. What a tournament he is having. And as you can see on the title of the video, I do think France will be the favourites going into this final. So France in their second final in a row, hoping to make it 2 out of 2. And this is their fourth final over the last 7 World Cups. So, of course, France 98, that's when they beat Brazil 3-0, their very first ever World Cup win out of the two. 2006 was known for, of course, for them losing to Italy in Berlin in the Olympic Stadium when Zinedine Zidane headbutted Materazzi and he got sent off and that would end up being his final game in his in his football career, pretty much. So they stayed with one World Cup there, but then, of course, 4 years ago, they were victorious by beating Croatia 4-2 in Russia. And 4 years on, they're in another World Cup final with most of the class of 2018. You know, it's pretty impressive. I mean, I don't care if people are going to compare this team to the team that won it in 2018. Let's wait till this World Cup's over, maybe. But it's impressive. Yeah, not many teams can, at least reach that level 4 years later after winning a World Cup. 4 years is a long time in football. Players either get better or they get worse. And Didier Deschamps, for a guy that didn't have Paul Pogba in this team, which some of you may know I'm not Paul Pogba's biggest fan, but he was the heart of that success in 2018. Not just on the pitch, but in the change room. He was like their leader. He would give out messages to his players before the final, for example, which I'm sure it's on YouTube somewhere. And he certainly likes to motivate the players as well as his manager, Didier Deschamps. N'Golo Kante, not in the squad, of course. Karim Benzema, so goals out of the scenario without him. But they've been able to do it on the front line without Karim Benzema. And let's not forget they won the World Cup without Benzema at the time. So I guess you could say Benzema probably doesn't count, but even so, you're not going to say no to the current FIFA Ballon d'Or winner, are you, in terms of picking him in for the squad? Of course you'd pick him if it wasn't for that injury he picked up literally days before the World Cup had started, nearly 4 weeks ago. So, but yeah, that it is impressive. 2 World Cups in a row. You gotta hand it to Didier Deschamps. That'll be his third. I guess if we're gonna call it, do we call the Nations League a major tournament? Because let's not forget they won the Nations League. I think that was last year. So they've been in at least 4 finals. Euro 2016, which they lost to Portugal. World Cup 2018. Nations League final, which I think was last year, if my memory serves me well. And then, of course, this Sunday being the 4th final in the World Cup. But, yeah, it'll be interesting to see how France get on. Argentina, we saw last night. We talked about it, me and Joe, here on Let's Talk Sport. Everyone's looking at Messi, aren't they? They're looking at him being the man that finally gets his hands on the World Cup trophy. And, of course, a lot of fans, Messi himself, pretty much the whole of Argentina at least, will be hoping to see Messi recover from losing that 2014 final to Germany. And I do feel like ahead of this game, Messi will be a lot more effective than he was in 2014. He had a couple of moments in 2014 that he didn't take his chances. I feel like this time Messi will learn from that and make sure that that doesn't happen again. As long as the opportunities are there, I think France tonight, from the 2 semi-finals I've seen, and I've been at these stadiums, I've been at the game tonight and at the game last night. From what I've seen, I think France are the favourites. I just feel as though the experience gets them my vote. But also, I just think they're up for it more defensively. Like, we talk about how England dominated France on Saturday. I still think, look, I'm an England fan, as most of you know. I was good when we lost, but I think we were okay. We were great. We were definitely competitive. But at the end of the day, France took their chances. And that's why France are a world-class team. You've got the likes of Giroud, Griezmann, and Mbappe to do the job. If one of them doesn't, the other one will. You can't beat that front line. It's brilliant. And Griezmann in this new role in midfield at this World Cup, it's like he's reinvented himself. Someone's injected him with something, and he's just a completely different man. So yeah, it'd be interesting to see what Griezmann's like for the rest of the season at club level and see what he can provide for. I think he's still with Atletico Madrid. I can't remember. I'm not gonna lie. I don't follow the league as much as I do with the other foreign leagues like Serie A and Bundesliga. But France tonight were up against a team like Morocco who hadn't conceded a goal yet. You could say they conceded an own goal ahead of this game, yeah, but that was just an own goal, not an actual goal from their opponents. The own goal was against Canada, I think it was. So that's when they let one in. But France made it look like Morocco. Look, I'll say this now. Morocco, as I said before, they played brilliantly. They really gave it their all. But at the end, I just felt like that early goal ruined their chances. And I think it may have ruined their tactics. Maybe the plans were out the window the moment Theo Hernandez scored there on the 5th minute. But what I thought was very impressive was just the fact that France dealt with any direct threat from Morocco. There were moments when Morocco probably should have done it more, where they just went straight forward, down the middle, run at them, see what opens up. But France held their nerve, and they were still able to really avoid Morocco from scoring goals. there were a couple of big saves from Hugo Lloris, including that bicycle kick that we saw, which, if that had found the net, that would have been some equaliser and one of the goals of the tournament. But Hugo Lloris, another one. I've not been his biggest fan in the past, especially at club level, but he just does it for France, doesn't he? Lloris has been absolutely phenomenal at this tournament. He is a hard man to beat. And the clash of the goalkeepers that we've got this Sunday, Martinez versus Lloris, two exceptional goalkeepers, and have been brilliant for their countries at this World Cup. Both of them in the Premier League as well, so it's a good advert for the Premier League, you could say. But I just think it's going to be harder for Argentina to score than it will be for France. I just feel like Argentina's defence, as we have seen, can cause their own problems. Saudi Arabia scored 2 goals out of nowhere. It can happen. And I do think France will be inspired by what Saudi Arabia did. I know that was on the opening week of the tournament. Many games have come by now, and a lot of things have changed with Argentina, where they're a much better team than that opening game. But when you look at how both teams have, as I always say, you can only beat what's in front of you. But Argentina have had a much easier run to this final. As I say, they lost to Saudi Arabia to start off with. Beat an average Mexico team that normally Mexico would actually... This team right here, that badge on my cap. Mexico normally get out their own group. They didn't even get out their own group this time. And I knew they wouldn't have a good World Cup after watching their qualifiers earlier this year. They're at a bad time, Mexico. They haven't got the best of talent coming through in my eyes. At the moment, anyway. Then they go beat Poland, but that was the only game where I felt like Argentina were comfortable. Okay, we'll talk about their semi against Croatia in a minute, but Poland don't really have the right setup for Lewandowski. Lewandowski's just stranded up front when he's playing for Poland, I've noticed. So then who did they beat in the last 16? They beat Australia only by 2-1. Could have gone on late into extra time, and we could have had a shocker there. And they were 2-0 up against Netherlands, and they showed that they could not hold on to that lead. Last kick of the game, they had to go into extra time, then go to penalties, and nearly lose. And Messi could have been very close to missing out on that World Cup dream. The World Cup dream's still there, but I don't think he is going to go all the way and lift that trophy on Sunday. Let me know your thoughts on the comments. I'd love to hear your thoughts. We did put in on the poll. We've just basically asked you who you think will win the World Cup. Currently, France at 67%, Argentina at 33%. I like that poll because it favours what I'm saying. But I can't wait for Sunday. I'm not going to lie. I'm going to the final, and everyone's going to label Mbappe versus Messi, and why not? Both players I think have been brilliant in this tournament. They've lived up to expectations. Messi with so many goals and so many assists, and Mbappe, I think, all up there for trying to win the Golden Boot. Someone has to go and leave Lusail Stadium empty-handed on Sunday, and I think it will be Messi. But all I would say is Argentina will have the advantage of the home crowd. There's been a lot more Argentina fans here and Messi fans here than France fans. The France supporters, they had a patch behind one of the goals tonight, and to be honest with you, I couldn't hear them because of the Morocco fans. They were so loud. Every time France had the ball, you could hear boos and whistles from all the Moroccans, which makes sense as well because they're a lot closer to Qatar than the French are. But it'd be interesting to see if we see more French fans for this final. There might be loads of France supporters that are flying over from Paris and such, and the south of France to come and see France playing in a second World Cup final in a row. I just want to quickly point out Morocco, though. It may be over, the World Cup dream for them. But as I said before, they have got nothing. They have already won many hearts, and they've inspired a generation. They really have. It's fantastic for Morocco football. You can't go wrong with this. And they can still finish on a high. And I think they can beat Croatia on Saturday. Croatia weren't great last night. They looked like they were beaten before the game even kicked off. They looked like they were tired. I think maybe they even... I don't mean... They might say I'm wrong, but they just didn't look like a team that would believe that they could even get this far. Argentina had them, no problem. And as I say, I just don't think Argentina have had a proper big team to face at this World Cup. So, and you look at France, you look at their run up to this, they beat England. I don't care if people say it wasn't convincing or not. They won it in 90 minutes. As I say, they got the goals when it mattered, and they always led the game. England never took the lead in that match. That's another thing to mention. And then tonight, they were up against one of the best defences in this World Cup of Morocco, and they still go and get 2 goals. The only thing I would say for Morocco tonight is there was a couple of moments where they could have got goals, I thought. There was a lot of moments when they kept running down the wing, then coming inside, and it frustrated me because it's like I kept shouting at the players. I was just like, just cross the ball, just cross it. You can't shoot from that tight angle. It's not going anywhere. And he should have just kicked it and try and get a crossface to go. And all it takes is a tap in. Just takes literally a touch, and you're gonna get the goal probably. So there were moments where I think Morocco, even when they were 2-0 down, I think they could have got at least a goal back. And that would have changed everything in the last few minutes. Look what the Dutch did with Argentina the other day when Weghorst came on and scored those 2 fantastic goals. So I think, I mean, I can't get over the fact that Morocco reached the semis. Absolutely brilliant. I really wished I witnessed them scoring a goal tonight just to see how the crowd reacted, because it really was a Morocco home game tonight. But France were able to put that aside, and that's you could say a good warm-up for France in terms of mentality with the fans in the stands, because Lusail is pretty much around the same. It's the same size of Lusail. We're talking the same amount of seats in that stadium come Sunday. So a very big stage, but also I think for France, because they've already played against a team that were clearly fan favourites in the stadium, I think they'll be up for that with Argentina as well. Argentina will have that upper hand. It'll feel like a home game to them when they play this weekend. But yeah, it's going to be a tough one. Let's also point out as well, the last time these 2 teams played at a World Cup was the famous 4-3 France win 4 years ago in Russia, which I don't think many people had Argentina to win this game because they didn't have a great World Cup so far going ahead into that game. That also included a 3-0 defeat by Croatia in the group stages, but luckily Messi and Marcos Rojo scoring the winning goals against Nigeria to keep them at the World Cup by going into the knockout stages. But then that first knockout stage comes and they get beat by France, who would go on to win the World Cup. It was by far one of the best World Cup games. If you haven't seen it, I think it's on YouTube, the full match on the FIFA channel. Yep, I'm promoting another YouTube channel there. I'll get my fiver from FIFA later. I really wish that was the case. But it was one of the greatest games ever. As I say, if you have not seen it, watch the full match if you get the chance ahead of this weekend. It's a good little warm up for you, that's for sure. But yeah, no, I'm looking forward to this. I really hope both teams go on the attack. I said before tonight's semi-final that selfishly I like the idea of France versus Argentina just because you've got bigger names, 2 big nations in football, and they are both going for a 3rd World Cup. So either way, someone's going to go home with at least a 3rd World Cup. We just don't know which country or flag it will be just yet. An early Christmas present is waiting this weekend here in Lusail, who will take it. I think I am going to maybe wrap it up there, folks. Thanks very much for tuning in and giving us a watch. Commiserations to Morocco. I thought you lot were brilliant. You shouldn't feel like this is a big defeat tonight. I know what it's like to have your country lose in a World Cup semi, and it does hurt. But at the same time, you can be proud for what they've done. And let's not forget, their manager joined them in August, so he didn't even go through qualifying with them. Brilliant. Imagine what he can do when he goes through qualifying. Who knows? But they've still got a 3rd place game to play on Saturday. That's at Khalifa Stadium against Croatia. So they could still finish on a high, get that bronze medal, I think they call it, the 3rd place medal. So still something that they can bring home and remember it for a very, very long time. So anyway, I think I'm going to wrap it up there. But it really was France just reminding us why they are the world champions. Can they do it again on Sunday? Can they stop the messy party of settling this whole GOAT debate, which quite frankly I'm sick and tired of hearing it. Got nothing wrong with Messi, but my God, it's been all about Messi the last 4 weeks, and they are really making it like it's the last dance, which it pretty much should be. But I'm going to go for France. I think they're going to win it. I always said that from outside, we said it last week, me and Joe on this channel, that whoever won between England and France would go on to win the World Cup. I stick by that. But anyway, thanks for watching. Click that subscribe button, give us a like, and we'll be, just maybe, we'll do a preview for the World Cup final ahead of this weekend. Not going to promise about the third place game, a preview or anything like that. Quite frankly, who cares? Unless you are Moroccan or Croatian. But I just feel like Morocco will win that and Croatia will be signed out before they even turn up on Saturday, to be honest. I won't be surprised if their heads are thinking of just going back home and going back to their clubs that they represent. So anyway, thanks for watching. It's good night from Doha in Qatar. And don't forget to subscribe to the channel. See you soon.